marriage rituals you won't believe exist. Spitting on the bride, Maasai Nation, Kenya. This is one of the most bizarre wedding rituals in the nation of Kenya. At a wedding ceremony held by the Maasai people, the bride's head is shaved and lamb fat and oil is applied on her head. The father of the bride blesses his daughter by spitting on her head and breasts. Spitting is a symbol of disgrace usually, but in Maasai Nation it is thought to bring good luck and fortune. She then leaves with her husband and does not look back for fear of turning into stone. The husband doesn't stay in the same house in which she stays for the next 2 days, and then her mother-in-law shaves her head. This concludes the wedding ceremony, declaring them man and wife for life. Kumbh Vivah, an Indian ritual for Manglik Dash. Kumbh Vivah is one of the most amazing rituals performed in Indian spirituality and is performed when an Indian man and woman have a Manglik Dash. This is a wedding between a Manglik and either a statue of Vishnu or a peepal tree or a banana tree. In some areas, Kumbh Vivah is an imaginary marriage of a girl and a pitcher of water. According to some Indian astrologers, Manglik Dash negatively impacts married life, causing tension and sometimes the untimely death of one of the partners. To cancel these effects, a Kumbh Vivah can be performed before the wedding. Kumbh Vivah is just like a normal wedding. A Manglik Dash girl has to perform this ritual like the real wedding. She has to wear the wedding dress and jewelry along with a thread. Parents do Kenya Dan and Fier are also taken with the mud pot, everything like a real Hindu wedding. Later on, the girl has to change the clothes, remove the thread, and that thread is tied over the mud pot. And then later on, the pot is drowned in some river or pond without letting anyone know. Once the ritual is done, the girl is out of Manglik Dash. She can now marry the actual person and will not have any further issues after the wedding. Bollywood actress Aishwarya Rai had one such marriage with a tree before marrying her husband Abhishek. Beating the groom's feet, South Korea. The ritual of beating the groom's feet takes place after the wedding ceremony in South Korea. The groom's friends remove his shoes and tie his feet together with a rope or a sash. They then lift his legs off the ground and start beating the soles of his feet with a stick or dried yellow corvina. Yellow corvina is a kind of fish. It is believed that this will make the groom stronger before the first wedding night. It can be painful, but it's more fun than cruel. The intention behind this tradition is to check the groom's strength and knowledge. He's often asked questions and quizzed during the test. This amusing ritual holds an important place in Korean wedding culture. Wardrobe change. In modern China, brides pick not one wedding dress, but 3. First, there's the traditional guaipao or changsem, an embroidered, slim-fitting frock that's usually made red for weddings, because red is a strong, lucky color in Chinese culture. Next, the bride might swap into a white poof ball gown that wouldn't look out of place at an American wedding, a bridal nod to the popularity of Western trends. Finally, the bride ducks out of the reception to change into a third dress, this one a gown of her color choice or a cocktail dress. Slaughtering a cow. Traditional Zulu weddings are marked by vibrant colors and dance-offs between the bride and groom's families. Like many brides across the world, Zulu brides might start the day in a Western white wedding dress, but change into traditional tribal clothing after a church wedding. In a traditional ceremony, the groom's family slaughters a cow to welcome the bride. The bride places money inside the stomach of the cow to symbolize that she is now part of the family. Trash juice out of a toilet for love. When you think about France, you probably think about rose petals, coffee shops, black turtlenecks, those really long bread rolls, and other romantic things that American movies tell us about France. You probably don't immediately picture a group of slobbering wedding guests hunched over a table slurping garbage out of a toilet bowl. But that's exactly what occurs during La Soupe, a wedding tradition seemingly cooked up by cracked-out hobos. Here's how it works. After the wedding reception, the happy couple are sent on their way to their marriage bed while the bridal party stays behind to clean up the mess. They do this by dumping all the leftover punch and cake and hors d'oeuvres and napkins and bits of trash off of their shoes into a chamber pot, creating a garbage stew. While the newlyweds are tangled up in bed preparing to do the nasty, half a dozen or more loud and presumably drunk people barge into the room with a toilet full of slop and don't leave until the bride and groom drink it. To be fair, these days the soup is more commonly just chocolate and champagne, but honestly, nothing seems particularly appetizing when served out of a toilet. But why? To give the new couple humping fuel. Sexing takes energy, and that's a scientific fact. What better way to provide a worn-out couple with the sustenance they need to finish their evening than to make them drink trash soup? Back when the tradition originated, the entire village would drink the garbage. And of course, these were the days when those very same chamber pots were actually used for pooping, and presumably some time before hygiene really came into vogue. Marrying animals to exorcise ghosts. The Western culture is no stranger to superstition, especially during a wedding. Most brides would sooner set fire to the church and postpone the ceremony than to get married without something old, new, borrowed, and blue. And don't even think about trying to catch a glimpse of your wife-to-be before the nuptials, or that's 3 stitches to the temple right there on the spot. But the Santhal tribe in India decided to one-up us all and crank the wedding crazy dial all the way up to 11. They believe that if a baby girl has a tooth rooted to her upper gum, it's the obvious sign she will be eaten by a tiger or something in the near future, because ghosts hate her. Therefore, she must marry a dog. Such was the story of Kamamoni Hansa, a 9-year-old Indian girl who married the local stray backend amidst the dancing and cheers of her 100 guests, getting shit-faced on homemade booze. Somehow the presence of moonshine in a cross-species wedding is not surprising in the least. The good news is this is nothing but a mock ceremony, and the couple don't have to consummate the wedding. It's just to ward off the evil spirits so the girl can marry a real boy sometime later. Thank God, otherwise this exorcism ritual between a child and a canine would have been really weird. No going to the toilet for 3 days. There's nothing more beautiful than a wedding. It is, after all, the couple's first day as happily married people, surrounded by friends, flowers, and fancy food. But for the tribes of the Taidong community in northern Borneo, a wedding is the first day of a grueling journey to the deepest levels of hell and back. It's the day when the couple must stop pooping for 72 hours. The Taidong tradition dictates that a newly married couple be confined to their house and not empty their bowels or urinate under any possible circumstances for the entirety of 3 nights and 3 days. That's why they're often carefully watched over by family members and given very little food or water. The Taidong people believe that if the couple makes it, they will lead a long and happy life with lots of non-dead children. So the stakes are pretty high here. When you think about it, there's a spark of genius to this practice. Nothing binds 2 people for life like going through difficult times together, and there's nothing more difficult than being denied the necessity of going to the bathroom for nearly half a week. When the 3 days are up, these people will be closer to each other than ever before. Well, after they fight each other to use the bathroom first, that is. Shooting the bride with arrows. Uyghur culture, China. In Uyghur culture, an ethnic Chinese minority, the groom actually shoots his bride 3 times with a bow and arrow before the wedding. Although the arrows don't actually have arrowheads, but still, that's one strange tradition, we must say. The reason behind this tradition is the belief that once the groom shoots the bride with arrows and then breaks the arrows, it will ensure that the bride and groom love and live with each other forever.